Alright, what I want you guys to look into this week are the cycle opening price and the gauntlet. Okay. So use this like we use the 4-hour open. So you want to short above the open and long below. And then the gauntlet is the same thing that ICT uses, the same thing that Zusi uses as well, that we all learned. So Zusi's market structure shift. Okay. So let's look at some examples. We can look at today. So just look at how the cycle opens here. And we take liquidity, we drop lower and take the previous cycle liquidity before it. And then we reverse. Okay. So we open, we take the liquidity and reverse, and then go higher. Same thing here, we open, take the first 30-minute liquidity, and then reverse. Open the cycle here, run higher, take the liquidity, reverse, and so on and so on. Here was midday, around noon. Open the cycle here, we're down below it, and we reverse here. All these have the reversal pattern in them as well. So when we look at like the end of the day here, this is what I want to show you with the with the gauntlet. So we open here at 2:30, runs higher, takes the liquidity, and reverses. Hang on 1 second. Okay. So it opens at 2:30, runs higher, and then the gauntlet is here. You have the candle drop down, tap into the gap, run higher, and then we close down below it. So what you want to see with this is just a full candle closure, but ideally what you want to see is a gap formed when we close over this gap. So if you zoom in, you can see it here. And it would be here to here. And you want to see that remain open. Because that's the leg that broke through this gap. Okay. So the way you can trade this is you wait for it to close. Then runs back up into this fair value gap. You can sell it, put the stop above, whatnot. And then you target the liquidity. For this example, it was the 1 hour fair value gap here. Okay, comes back up into this fair value gap as resistance, taps back into the candle opening price or cycle opening price, then sells off again. And then after this happens, it goes long. So the same thing occurs here. End of the day, 350. The macro kicks in. Same thing happens here. The gauntlet, fair value gap. Close above it. Reach back down. Tap into it, you can get long there. If you zoom in, we take the 30-minute cycle liquidity here, and then we do the same exact pattern. So we run higher into this gap, which would be the gauntlet. Then we run lower, and then we start to shift the market here into a buy program. So this would be the entry here. You can enter here, close above, but your stop would have to be below the low, or you get stopped out. But then it goes again, and you can enter here when we close above. You put your stop down below this low because you have that gap there. We tap into it, so that should remain open. And then the target would be this high. That would complete the buy model, and then the whole buy model for the whole day would be up here, the overnight highs or the pre-market high. Okay, that was the 15-second, and the 1-minute entry would be here. So on this candle, we come back down into it. That would be the entry. Your stop would have to be below here. Okay, same target would be above the 7 a.m. high. But basically, that's what I'm going to be using. That's what I'm going to look at, along with all the other stuff that we use. This is just a little tweak that gets you in a little bit later. So instead of, like, the normal entry would be here, when we take the high, then we close down below, maybe enter on that candle. So now what I'm gonna be doing is this, waiting for this gap. If there's no gap like that, if it doesn't tap into a gap and run higher, either on the 15-second or the 1 minute, I'm not gonna even look at it. But this would be the entry now, using this pattern. So we close there. Stop would be here, or you can zoom into the 15-second and take a tighter entry. This one at lunchtime was the same exact thing, but your gap would be higher. The gauntlet gap would be higher. It would be here. Close above there. There's your gap. Just, you have to get long, like around this area here with a 15-point stop, and then you target whatever you want there, 9:30 opening price, or the high there, the high here, the high of the day. It doesn't matter. Let's see if I can find another. So same thing here. You have this gap, which gets you a really late entry, or you have this one here. Okay. So you have this run, closes above the gap, or runs above the gap, so maybe you can take an entry there. Stop here, or here, or here. Target the high. If you want to wait a little later, you can play that gap. Stop below the low, target the high. If you want to wait until this late, then you would enter on the close of that candle, stop below that low, and you target that high. Here's another example. This is from Friday. So you can use this gap. Same thing. You go here. Target the liquidity down below. So it would be that, about 100 points.